You know.
Yeah.
So
all right, so get back to storage, and then let's see if any questions came up.
With storage, you definitely want to make sure that if it's going to be long periods of time where you're not playing it, before you put it away, we do a few things. Simple as if it's a rosewood or an ebony or a darkwood fingerboard, except for Rickenbacker because they actually lacquer over their fingerboards. Everybody else has them exposed. So you want to make sure that we hydrate that properly. Okay. If we're going to be storing it for a really long time, go ahead and you can take the strings off of it for no other reason than the rust factor. Okay. Unlike metals are going to corrode quicker.
Unlike metals,
and even like metals are going to fuse together. Unlike metals aren't. But sometimes when you have those two unlike metals like this, before we got here, because it looked really gross, I didn't want to show it on camera. I had to wipe this down, and it was the two unlike metals between the nickel covers and the strings. It gets some weird reactions. Some activity can happen with the metals. Okay, so we want to make sure we prep for those things. If you're really, really nervous about it, you can take the tension off your truss rod, okay? Typically, you're going to find your truss rod at the top of the neck or at the heel.
The guitars don't want to rest with a certain tension on them?
I personally prefer them to it, but, there is a train of thought that if taking that tension off of it, nothing's going to happen, where in this situation, your truss rod's actually coming out the back of it. That could just be just because it's really old and the glue joint's probably failing is what's happening there.
And this, you'd have to take the neck off to adjust.
Yeah, this one is a heel style. With this, if we take this pick guard off, I think I modified it already so we don't have to take the whole neck off. I think I gave myself a little access carve.
And especially with this one, you don't take it off, it might just break again.
So, and that's the thing. You got to be careful of it. I've seen them both ways. I've seen good and bad happen with both of them. It really depends on your climate. Some areas, if it's really, really dry all the time, then you're going to make sure that you take the tension off. You don't want it to, and if you get really, really cold, same thing. If you're out there in California, where it's 70 degrees all the time,
perfect humidity.
Perfect humidity, you guys can do whatever you want to do.
Just go to Rouse and come back, you're good.
Unlike here in Maryland, it was snowing. Yesterday it was snowing, and then today it's gorgeous outside. It makes no sense.
28 in the morning, 68 in the evening.
For Marylanders and places with multiple climates throughout the year, and where it's not just always spring, it's not just always summer. You got to make sure you have your quarterly neck adjustments done. You want
quarterly is when you
quarterly ideally for Maryland, just because our weather's so extreme.
Yeah.
Some places you can get away with maybe once, twice a year. And it also really depends on the player. If you're gigging out all the time, so you're going to have it done a little bit more. And especially if you're not thinking about it. Like if you get to a gig, don't just rush there and open up your case. Get it there, let it be to room temperature.
Now that's an interesting idea.
Especially on a really cold day. If you can get there early enough, let your instruments sit there. Get acclimated to that room as much as you can. Open it up, just let it sit there for a little bit. And once it's, say it's like a snowy day and you're playing that Christmas, rain or whatever. You want to make sure that instrument gets up to temperature, because the moment you pull it out, that body temperature that you have versus how cold your instrument is, that's going to create a lot of tuning issues right there. Compounded with that shock, you can check your finish, you can have all kinds of issues. So if you let it just naturally warm up,
that's
let
fascinating.
it sit there. This is something that my father years ago, he explained to me. Even though he's a keyboard player, it really hit home with me, and I think his dad might have told him that as well. But it makes a big difference when you get there. Just get there a little extra early. Just let it sit there before you just start beating on it. And you're going to find it's going to hold much, much better tune for you.
Gotcha. So. All right, let's see if a question came up, and then we'll wrap it up here.